So it's time for the promised rematch with area leader Vander, and everyone was hyping him up during the story. This is, well, going to be kind of a disappointment, so let's go. So anyway, I've decided to show all of the area leaders of each of the areas of Mount Battle that I did between these next two parts of my Colosseum playthrough, and as you can see, Vander is pretty pathetic. He specializes mainly in normal types, and they're all some of the lowest levels that we've seen by far. Oh, hey, it's Misdreavus and Remoraid. Yeah, so to give you an idea, this is one of the few areas in the game where it's actually safe to use this Remoraid, so I was using it to basically help increase its heart gauge. Also, you might notice the return of this awesome battle music. So every area of Mount Battle has its own battle theme. Area 1, and only Area 1, uses this theme, so that's kind of strange. Anyway, the area leaders usually have quite a few more Pokemon than the normal trainers in their areas, but still, yeah, the area leader of the first area is pretty bad. Well, at least you didn't attack Misdreavus. So Area 1 is considerably lower level than anything you face in the entire game. I personally find that it's really only worth it, 1, for Remoraid, and 2, if you transfer some Pokemon of very low levels from your GBA games after you beat the main story, you can kind of train here for a bit. That's actually what I like using Mount Battle to do. I like using it as a method of grinding experience for my GBA teams, but again, that requires you to have beaten the main story and unlock transfers. Slakoth. Now, it's kind of amusing because the area leader of Mount Battle Area 1 in Battle Mode, Story and Battle Mode have completely separate sets of Pokemon in Mount Battle. I'll talk about the Battle Mode version of Mount Battle much later, because that's the one that I might end up showing in full. But anyway, the area leader of Area 1 in Battle Mode has a pretty hilarious slacking, so I'm looking forward to talking about that. Jigglypuff. Yeah, great Pokemon. Also, Jigglypuff looks pretty low resolution. Is this the first time we've actually seen Jigglypuff itself and not Igglybuff? Anyway, not really that much to say about Vander. He's pretty simple. This guy's actually being smart about attacking Misdreavus, though, which is, I guess, one thing. 5 Pokemon, though, so it's quite a few to go through. Some of my Shadow Pokemon might actually level up a few times after being purified. Okay, yeah, we probably haven't seen that fading animation before. Yeah, Jigglypuff's the one where it deflates. I was confusing that with Igglybuff for a moment, but yeah, that's Jigglypuff's fading animation, which is pretty funny. And it's kind of weird. Jigglypuff has always been called the balloon Pokemon. This is one of the few times that it actually seems to act like one. And so we've defeated Area Leader Vander. That was pretty simple. Like I said, for all the hype he gets in the main story, it's kind of a shame that he's such a weak trainer in the, well, actual fight. But so, after we've cleared an area, we have access to the break room. Also, you can talk to trainers again, but they still say the exact same thing. So, there's a break room at the end of every area, and I'm going to just briefly show off one of them, just to give you an idea. Also, the music here is pretty funny. So, there's a guy at the counter, and there's a PC, so you can change your team if you want to. But if you talk to this guy, we get our Poke Coupon reward for clearing Area 1. Only 100 Poke Coupons. Thankfully, the amounts get a lot better. Now, we get to choose whether we want to advance or not, and we can start again from any area we've already cleared. But if we say no, we can also have Abra teleport us back to the reception. So anyway, cutting ahead to area leader number 2, but that's basically how that works. You can, thankfully you don't have to go through the whole thing every time you reset this place. If you do want to go through area 1 again, I don't know why you'd really want to, but if you ever do, you actually have to say start challenge from the beginning. Don't worry, it won't erase your progress or anything, but that's the only way to actually access area 1. Otherwise, you'll just have to select any area you've already cleared, and you can start from there from then on. So I like that, but yeah, you can also use Abra to teleport back to the entrance in case you don't want to take on this whole place in one go, which you obviously don't want to do, because that would take hours. Like, a really, really long time. But anyway, this is the second area leader. He specializes in bug types, and his levels are only, well, actually, they're quite a bit higher. Also, you might notice that we've got the standard battle theme here, so areas, yeah, I believe most of the early areas use this. Only Area 1 used the theme that I think is just called First Battle. But I'm still using Remoraid here a little bit, although I probably won't be able to after this point, but at least the Pokemon here aren't getting one-shotted by everything. Sudowoodo is slowly approaching Purification. Okay, thank you for missing. That probably wouldn't have done much, but I was kind of afraid you'd attack Remoraid. And he has 5 Pokemon too, just like the other one. But yeah, 5 very weak Pokemon. It's not going to take that long, and you might notice here Remoraid's heart gauge is very close to being full, so that's good. I'll be able to stop using a level 20 Pokemon soon. Surskit. I probably already talked about it, but it was quite rare in the original games. I think it actually was more common in Emerald, I forget, but yeah, a Pokemon that lost its unique type combination after it evolves, and Nincada. Which, speaking of evolution methods, Nincada had a very strange method of evolving. Well, I mean, its method of evolving was simple, but it had this secondary evolution side effect that got you Shedinja that I actually had to look up a guide to find out how to do back in the day, because I had... Wow, that was terrible. Really, who could be expected to figure that out? The fact that you have to have a separate... an empty slot in your party and an extra copy of whatever Pokeball that... I think it just had to be a regular Pokeball back in that generation, but yeah, you had to have an extra Pokeball in your bag. It makes sense because the shell basically becomes its own Pokemon and you need a Pokeball to store it, but it's still very weird. And yeah, not something that you'd probably... Well, I guess if you caught a Nincada early in the game when you didn't have a full party. I mean, I suppose even at that point, you're very likely to have a full party on hand, and... yeah. Always found that a weird method. But anyway, let's finish off these 2 Pokemon. Uh-oh, let's just hope the Remoraid isn't finished off here. And you went for Sudowoodo. Why? You are an idiot. So, there goes Nincada. Anorith. Anorith is a pretty cool bug type. Though I keep thinking it's Bug Water when it's actually Bug Rock. Yeah, all fossil Pokemon are part Rock, I need to keep reminding myself. Which I always felt was weird, and in a lot of cases, not actually the best. Aurorus. Aurorus is a Pokemon that I really want to like, but its type combination is terrible. I did try and use one once in a Mono Rock tournament, just for Freeze Fry to take out water types. It did okay. Unfortunately, Remoraid kind of fell here, but wasn't really going to get much. Oh, I mean, I guess if it went into Hyper Mode, maybe. Still, let's see who I replace. Yeah, as you can see, I took a full team of Shadow Pokemon into these just to get my heart gauges up a bit more. Work on purifying a lot of the Pokemon that I hadn't worked on yet. And nice one-shot there. So that's the second area leader down, and I'll be cutting out the break room from here on, so I'll be pretty quickly skipping to the third area leader. What's kind of cool is that the area leaders all, for the most part, have their own unique models. So now it's time to go on to Area 3. I like to show each, like, the actual end of, like, where the break room is, just because I like the way that Mount Battle gives you a sense of progress as you go through. So you start off at the very bottom, you can even see the later areas, even past the first break room, and every break room is further and further in, and you'll see after this one that things get a little more interesting. But anyway, here's Area Leader Renson, and she specializes in water types. The area leaders do get a lot more interesting later, but for now they're basically gym leaders, just really easy ones. Also, look at how far along Swablu's heart gauge has come. That's definitely a lot. Also, Sudowoodo has reclaimed the move Rock Slide, which is great, because that's gonna... Well, it's just a great move in doubles anyway. A lot of people consider it one of the best moves in doubles these days, actually. Oh, you're not part Dragon yet, so you don't resist that. It's a shame. But yeah, you'll see that, like, my heart gauge on Swablu there is a great indication of just how much heart gauges you can fill up just going through Mount Battle. In between the last battle of Area 2 and the last battle of Area 3, Swablu's almost done with the heart gauge, which is pretty amazing. Once again, Bubble Beam still being kind of pathetic. I keep forgetting that it hits both opponents in the double battle. But yeah, Rock Slide looks kind of... This is one of the few games where Rock Slide just drops one rock on the target's head rather than a whole lot of rocks, but I actually really like how Rock Slide looks in this one. I actually feel like it's one of the few moves that actually looked worse in XD. Okay, so for those who don't know, all of the animations got completely redone in XD. Most of them are considerably better, but I actually liked how Rock Slide... Wait a minute, no, Bubble hits both opponents, and Bubble Beam doesn't. I was just remembering earlier. Wait a minute, didn't Mantine... Does Bubble Beam only hit single targets? Kind of weird how Bubble can hit both, but Bubble Beam doesn't. But anyway. Probably want to call Swablu. Yeah, once Sudowoodo relearns Rock Slide, it actually becomes pretty strong. Oh, well, provided it doesn't miss. That's kind of the thing with rock moves. Before Gen 5 and Smackdown, I believe, no physical rock move had 100% accuracy, which is kind of annoying, but again, it's something that you have to pretty much contend with when you're... Okay, Swablu probably has a nature that really likes being called. And there's Twister. Twister is a weird move. It was one of the first actually damaging Dragon-type moves in the game, because Dragon Rage, which was the only Dragon move in Gen 1, only did fixed damage. But Twister is pathetically weak. It does double in power against opponents using Fly, but that bumps it up to 80 power, which is like the average for most strong moves, which is, yeah, not really worth using. And Goldeen. That's... Oh, you survived for some reason. Well, at least Mud Sport is actually worthwhile on a Water Specialist, because that lowers the power of electric moves. It's not like, let's say, a Ground type using Mud Sport. Geodude. That always amused me whenever random trainers would do that. They did that a lot in Gen 3. Don't know why Geodude even learns Mud Sport, although I guess it can help in double battles, I guess, sometimes. Okay, that Goldeen is surprisingly bulky. Or Swablu is surprisingly weak, one of the two. Well, that Corphish is definitely gone now. I should note that some of these models on the area leaders, they're not strictly unique. Most of them look unique, but they're all kind of palette swaps of the same general model. But I think Vander... I forget if anyone's a palette swap of Vander later. He might actually be unique. But this model shows up in battle mode, but the trainer class is known as Super Trainer, all as one word. They mainly appear in Mount Battle, but they sometimes appear in some of the... So something that I guess I haven't really talked much about this game's battle mode, it does work very similarly to Stadium, and you have access to all the stadiums that you do in the main story. So Phoenix Stadium, Pyrite, one that we haven't seen yet, and another one that we haven't seen yet, which you actually have access to right from the beginning, which is kind of a spoiler for the main storyline. But there's also one extra unlockable stadium that you can fight in during battle mode that never appears in the main story at all, Orare Colosseum. It actually did show up in the main story in XD, but not here. I have actually forgotten how you unlock it. I think you have to beat at least one of the grounds on every other stadium, except for the one that's a spoiler. Because the one that's a spoiler only lets you fight at level 100. I guess I can talk more after I go through here, because I want to say something about this area's break room, but I guess that can be the tangent that I go on in this part, because it's not really all that much to say here. So we get more Poke Coupons for this, and you'll see this break room heads right into the mountain. And so our next area will take place in the very heart of the volcano itself, which is apparently a line from the Pokemon anime. I've completely forgotten about it. But anyway... I'm now actually bringing some of my mainstay team members like Kickface and Espeon because... Soul, should I say, because this area is quite a bit tougher. So it's time for Area Leader Trinch of Area 4. And as you can see, well, here, the music has now become the Cypher Peon battle theme. So we get different battle themes as we go through this place, but this guy is a rock user. I guess his name's supposed to be like Trench or something, I don't know. And there's Nosepass. Nosepass is kind of a weird Pokemon. It's pretty weak, but has decent defense. It's okay with Roxanne uses it, because it's actually one of the few rock types used by a rock gym leader that's pure rock, not rock ground, so having a grass or water type doesn't guarantee you the win. Lilip is still kind of bulky. But yeah, then it evolved into Probopass in Gen 4, and Probopass is also a weird Pokemon because it combines having very good defensive stats with a really bad defensive typing. But it has a few decent moves it can do. There are a lot of trainers that use surprisingly strong Probopasses in the main storylines of games, like, I remember Wickstrom's, or Vickstrom, however you pronounce that, in X and Y. His Probopass was actually kind of tough sometimes. But anyway, what I was saying before about the Colosseum. So, the way that those Colosseums work is, you have... This was before the Pokemon games could reset your whole team to level 50. I really, really wish they did, but they don't in this game. So instead you have level 50, which requires your Pokemon to be at level 50 exactly, which is really, really annoying. This also means that Tyranitar and Dragonite are effectively banned from level 50. This is also the mode that most official tournaments used back in the day, so that actually meant that Dragonite and Tyranitar were effectively banned from live competitions as well. Because, for those who don't know, they evolve into their final form at level 55, so it's impossible to have one. I think there was an event Dragonite that got released at level 50, but that was a Gen 4 thing, I think. So anyway, you had to have your Pokemon at exactly level 50, which got really annoying, especially for Pokemon that learn moves at above level 50, or ones that you had to just barely keep their experience bars to avoid them going to level 51, because if they did go even one level above level 50, they have to compete in level 100. So, it was really all or nothing. And yeah, there you can see how defensive Nosepass is. Another weird thing about Nosepass is that its Gen 3 GBA sprite made it look like it was more made of rock, but its 3D sprites looked a lot more metallic, and in later generations it became more metallic looking in the handheld games. Yeah, look at Nosepass's 3rd gen sprite if you want to, because it looks really different from how it actually looks in this game and how its official art looks, which is kind of odd. But anyway, so you had level 50, level 100, that one spoiler Colosseum was only available at level 100, and I think you had to unlock Aura Colosseum separately for level 50 and for level 100. Once again, I forget exactly how you unlock it. I think it required beating at least one, like, round of level 50 or level 100 on each of the other Colosseums. But anyway, you unlock Aura Colosseum, and it had a lot of very, very strong Pokemon. It was pretty much the super strong bonus Colosseum for the battle mode. Not counting Mount Battle, but anyway. So, Mount Battle in battle mode, there's a reason why I was talking about those level things, is that it operates on the same rules. You can either do level 50 or... I actually think... Wait a minute, does it have that open level option? Hold on, because starting with Emerald, they replace level 100 with a category called Open Level. Open Level is everything is at level 60 by default, but if you're above level 60, then everything is at the level of your highest level Pokemon. So that was how you did level 100 back then, if your whole team was level 100, but it was also a lot more inclusive to people who didn't train up all the way to level 100, because back in the day I never actually did that, and I still don't. I prefer to train to level 50. It's just a lot more convenient, and since all official competitions are at level 50 anyway, it's just a lot easier to memorize the level 50 stats than it is to memorize the level 100 stat milestones, because they're all quite different. That's part of why I didn't really... Why am I just suiciding Quillfish like this? I don't know. I am stupid. I feel really bad for my poor Quillfish here. Well, I mean, I guess it's not technically mine, but still. So anyway, I guess as I was saying, there's another reason why I didn't really do simulators that much, because they all played at level 100, and I just had all the level 50 stat milestones memorized at level 100 ones. Things like 101 subs was not possible at level 50. You'd have to get 51 subs, and I believe 101 subs is possible by anything with an HP stat of a base 100 or higher, and that, at level 50, Pokemon with base 100 HP don't necessarily have access to substitutes that... The significance of 101 or 51 subs is that the substitute doesn't break in one hit of Seismic Toss or Nightshade. This is why. Anyway, I guess I should try and talk about something remotely relevant. That Phanpy is... I guess this guy's actually not entirely rock types, he uses some ground types. Phanpy is using Roll Out there, a move that no doubt terrified a lot of people in their childhood with Whitney. So I think it was funny how right outside Goldenrod City there was actually the team of Roll Out, so if you can't beat them, join them, I guess. Phanpy is another Pokemon that was pretty sad when it faints in this game. I used to pronounce it, not Phanpy, which a lot of people did. In fact, I think wasn't there a Pokemon card that actually called it Phanpy? But I used to pronounce it Phanty. Don't know why I thought there was a T in there, but I guess I was just thinking about elephants and stuff. Oh, I really wish I had a grass type here, but it doesn't look like I do, so I'm just going to have to go for the classic Confusion combo. I did want to use Espeon and Umbreon and maybe a few other team members here quite a bit because I did want to get their levels back on track. Dakim had levels in the low 40s, so we're quite under level for that. And I think I succeeded in getting to around level 36 with my whole main team. Well, of course, except Entei, because Entei was already level 40. I guess I'm not really mentioning how I'm using Dunsparce either, but I'm using Dunsparce. That's really all there is to say. Did I carry Rhyhorn? Yes, it did. I thought that animation had been cut a bit short. Okay, we just have Barboach left. Let's hope I can finish it. Okay, I finished it off before Dunsparce got KO'd. So at least I didn't totally fail my Pokemon in this one and get all the ones I was using KO'd. Still don't know why I just completely suicided Quillfish there, but guess I can't really question my past self-decisions. Well, I mean, I can question them, but I can't really change them. So that's Area Leader 4 down. The next one will be the last one for this video, but as you can tell by the amount of time remaining, this next battle is going to be kind of longer. So we go through this lava, still don't know why we're not burning up and dying, but anyway. Now it's time for the 50th, so basically the halfway point of Mount Battle, and Zentin, this area leader. A lot of them kind of look like they should be Pokemon breeders. Kind of resemble that sprite from the GBA games. But anyway, this guy I think is mainly a flying type user, and as you can see, he's at around level 40. So at this point, I basically stopped just focusing on purification and started just focusing on using my main team, although I do still have these two here. They're probably not going to last long though. So Mount Battle at this point actually did start to get kind of tough. To put this in perspective, the videos, because I did actually record all of these areas, the videos from areas 1 to 4, all of them were no longer than 30 minutes long. The video for Area 5, 1 hour. Yeah, all of a sudden the time it took me to beat the whole area doubled. That's how much of a difficulty spike Area 5 is compared to the earlier ones. So Mount Battle does spike up a difficulty fairly quickly, you have to be careful of that. I think after this, I tried Area 6, but it was just way too much for me at this point in the game, and I wasn't really able to do it. So this was as far as I could go at this point. So I'd recommend that at this point, you actually do. I know it's long, and I know a lot of people find Mount Battle tedious, because that's another thing I can talk about. I personally quite like Mount Battle, but then again, I'm all about battling when it comes to Pokemon, and I know that there are other people who like other aspects of the series more. I have no problem with long strings of battles, because that's pretty much the main thing that appeals to me in Pokemon in the first place. But I know a lot of people don't. But the good thing about Mount Battle is, and this is... Okay, so the actual Colosseum mode version of Mount Battle, that does get quite annoying. But the story mode version, you can do every... Gus is physical in this generation, by the way, so it's probably not hitting as hard as why, but it's still kind of strong. You can do every area separately. Once you go through 10 battles, you have the option to save and go back to the main lobby. There's really no reason to think of Mount Battle in story mode as one giant endurance slogfest, because it's really not. Well, that is until you get to XD. Yeah. So, XD. That was some weird lag there. But yeah, there's a certain optional unlockable thing in XD that actually does turn Mount Battle into an endurance slogfest, but we'll talk about that. I'm definitely going to play XD eventually, but we'll talk about that once we get to XD, because, yeah. For now, though, just remember that you can save and take breaks and even leave between every 10 areas of Mount Battle, so there's really no reason to take on this whole place all at once. I would definitely recommend that you do complete all 10 areas of Mount Battle, though, at some point, because the reward for doing so is definitely worth your while. Let's just say there's one of a very rare item that you can get here. I didn't even notice what Swellow was using. Okay, Aerial Ace, good. I was worried that was Endeavor for a second. If that was Endeavor, that would have been really bad. Back in the day, Swellow was one of the first Pokemon that I really saw that actually... that learned the move Endeavor. My first experience with the move Endeavor, basically. It was kind of interesting. And there are a lot of... well, I mean, there's one very specific thing that you can do with it, but... it was also useful in a pinch for catching certain legendary Pokemon. Okay, I don't think you've regained Surf just yet. And this Swellow is content to spam Aerial Ace. You are not Winona, although, wait a minute, did Winona even have a Swellow in the GBA games? Did she have one in Emerald? I'm not sure, because I know she had a shining one in the anime, but I forget if she actually had one at all in the games. So as you can see, I'm actually using my main story team a bit and getting them all up to around the level 35 mark, so Mount Battle, like I said, is a good place to train. The other benefit of being able to go back into any area you've already cleared before is that basically each area is tailor-made to training Pokemon of a certain level. So, for example, at this point, Area 5 gives me probably the best experience that I have access to at this point in the game. So, if I wanted to train up my main story team a bit more, I could repeatedly go back into Area 5. Once we get later in the game, we have access to more areas of, well, we have to do them first, but then we'll be able to use more areas of Mount Battle, like the later areas, to actually train for those points, and I'm really glad that I have Espeon out in the field now. Also, yeah, as much as a lot of people like to comment on Golbat's weird-looking Gen 1 sprite, Golbat's Colosseum, and I'm guessing Stadium sprite as well, is really bizarre. Why is Golbat just rocking back and forth with its wings over its mouth like that? I mean, although, admittedly, in general, Golbat is a very strange-looking Pokemon. I'm not entirely sure what they were thinking when they designed Golbat. It's very weird-looking and kind of stupid. That was a fairly strong Astonish, but probably because Kickface is kind of weak at this point. Don't worry, we won't have to wait much longer. One more level, and then Kickface will evolve. And that is case in point as to why you don't want to use Meta Chide as a special attacker. I could say something here, but I don't want to be mean to a certain Let's Player. Anyway. This Masquerain is actually being pretty resilient when it comes to... Okay, it's confused. Well, when it comes to special moves, basically. Is Metasite going to feint to that? Yeah, I'm so sorry, Kickface. Like I was saying, this area is actually kind of tough for my team at this point. In fact, will I even be able to get through this? We'll see. Sol and Luna should be able to take it on. Come on, please hit yourself. I'm hoping for a Masquerain to hit itself. That's kind of weird. And there's Umbreon's amazing tanking prowess showing. Or it could be Masquerain just being really weak. Yeah, I've only taken out 2 of his Pokemon so far. Admittedly, 2 more of them are about to go down, so... isn't really as bad for me as it looks. Kind of feel like I should have healed Sol at this point, but still. Is that fainting? Thank you. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, you know it's bad when you're scared of a Masquerain. Masquerain did get a lot better in Gen... was it 7 that buffed its special attack up to base 100? Hell of her. Well, I wouldn't give her an electric type right now. Kind of wish I was using Flaffy, thinking back about... Wow, Espeon's a... well, I should probably be using his real name. Well, the name that I've given him, Sol. Sol only survived there because Golbat was an idiot. I should be pretty thankful for that. Now Golbat's tongue... well, actually, doesn't go quite all over the place. That's Kecleon. You'll see Kecleon's fanning animation eventually, and it's pretty ridiculous. Don't really know why I stalled there for a bit. Ah, okay, this is good. This is actually why I'm glad that I'm showing these fights. Level 36, Espeon is now learning Psybeam. It's not that much stronger than Confusion. It also changes from a Smart type move to a Beauty type move in contests, but it's basically just a stronger version. It has the exact same chance of Confusion, but it has 65 power instead of 50. Psychic is a considerable upgrade, but at this point, I don't think I have quite enough Poké Coupons to afford it. You'll see me go over just how much I have once I get out of here. By the way, though, here's Psybeam. It's hitting a little bit harder than Confusion would be. Please don't faint here, Espeon. I'll see what Pelipper does. I thought Pelipper would survive there, so let's just see. Oh, hey, you flips. That's good. So Espeon lives to see another... Sol! I keep making a mistake. Sol lives to see another day. Okay, let's just finish this fight. I think at this point, part of me was just sighing in relief that that flinched. I mean, not that I really was in danger of losing this fight, but still, I'd like Sol to survive this. And there goes Pelipper. So that was Area 5's leader, and that's officially half of Mount Battle. Well, I mean, half of the area leaders. I'm not showing the actual battles. I should mention that a lot of the trainers in here do have some pretty funny dialogue, so I'm kind of annoyed that I'm not showing all of it, but... I don't know, maybe someday, much later, if I'm starved for content in videos, I could just upload the actual original files that have the full versions of these areas. But for now, I just want to show the area leaders. Didn't want to stall this playthrough any longer than it already needed to be. So for clearing Area 5, we win, let's see, wait for it, 800 Poke Coupons. That's a lot more. But that's as far as I'm going to go this time. I'm going to have Abra teleport me back to the entrance because Area 6 is a bit beyond me at this point in the game. So yeah, if we say yes here, in XD, Abra actually has an animation for doing this, but not so in Colosseum. We just get a fade to white. So let me check out how much Poke Coupons that I have. 2,100, a decent amount, but not enough for Psychic. I need 3,500 for that, so I'll probably need to be grinding and Mount Battle a little more if I wanted to get that. I don't actually get it at this point in the game, so yeah, if you do want to grind a lot here, you could theoretically get it right now, and that would make Espeon wreck the game for pretty much the entire rest of it. Psychic is just that powerful. For now, though, let me just go ahead and put some of my Pokemon in the PC and save my game here, and next time I'll be purifying all of the Pokemon that I took through these challenges, so look forward to that.